Much. Joining our conversation right now, we have Republican Congressman from Virginia, Scott Rigell. Sir, it's good to have you here, and as I understand it, you've written a letter calling for the president to convene an emergency session of Congress if he decides to take military action. As I pointed out, we have today the British Prime Minister, David Cameron, calling back a session for Parliament, tweeting that Parliament's going to be recalled on Thursday when there will be clear government motion and a vote on UK response to the chemical weapons attack. Sir, what are the U.S. options, and are you in favor of military strikes by the end of the week?
Thomas, thank you for having me on. It's an important topic, a serious one. Secretary Kerry was right in his characterization of the moral obscenity that the Assad regime, I believe, has perpetrated on his people. Now, my point that I'm making here in the letter to the president, being joined by an increasing number of colleagues here, is that the president really needs to follow the Constitution here. His behavior and his conduct and his application of force in Libya is instructive to us, and I clearly believe that the level of force there rose to the level of requiring Congress to get engaged in this under the War Powers Resolution, and I think that's where we're headed here. So my call really is for the president to, should he get to that point of really about to engage U.S. forces, he does need to call us back. Only then, but he needs to call us back. We need to come back from wherever we are and deliberate this and authorize it.
And do you say Libya was instructive because you were essentially left out of that process?
Correct, and I led an effort in the House, had a lot of support from Democrats to actually defund it. I'd only been in Congress 3 months, and I found myself leading this effort to defund Operation Odyssey Dawn. I represent the district in the country that has the highest representation of men and women in uniform in the country, active duty and retired. Some of those ships that you mentioned are home ported in Norfolk.
Yeah.
So look, it's not a question of being restrained in our foreign policy here. We may very well support what the president wants to do, but it is not the King's Army, and there is a process by which we need to follow. It was framed in our Constitution. George Washington, our first president, of course, made it clear that no military action of any consequence can be, no offensive action can be taken unless Congress has met and deliberated it and then authorized it.
So, sir, while we understand that there is, the responsibility right now is coming from the president because of the words that were used by the Secretary of State, John Kerry, yesterday, saying it really is undeniable, but do you need stronger confirmation that not only are there deaths associated with chemical weapons, but they are directly linked with Bashar al-Assad and his government?
Well, Thomas, one of the main purpose of what I'm asking here, and I think is clearly required under our Constitution, is to have the time to see that evidence, to walk through it, to deliberate it on the House floor. Right now, the president is, I think, kind of throwing us a bone, if you will. He's meeting or talking to individual members. This is helpful, but is no substitute for engaging the institution itself. Those discussions that are taking place in private right now, they need to take place on the House floor and on the Senate floor. The president really, I think, looks for his moral foundation in this from the United Nations, for example, and other world leaders. That's appropriate, but the foundation, the moral foundation, is found in the American people and through their elected officials. And that's why, if he wants to engage U.S. forces, he really must call us back into session.
Congressman Scott Rigell, sir, thanks for making time for me. I appreciate it.